I was having a conversation and it really triggered this thing that's been inside of me for years. I was talking to a young lady and she promotes herself as a speaker. And I hadn't talked to her in a while. And I said, hey, I hadn't talked to you in a bit. How are things going? She said, oh, I'm really excited. I'm going to be traveling soon. I said, oh, great. Where are you traveling and what topics are you speaking on? She writes back and says, well, I'm actually working as a consultant for hospitals, helping them with some of their sales, et cetera, et cetera. I said, cool. I said, so, what are you doing outside of that, in terms of the things that you're excited about? And she said, well, I have to kind of get myself together first and then I'll deal with that. But right now, I'm just focusing on, doing this. And I said, so you're together enough to serve and work for these hospitals and these corporations, but you're not together enough to pursue your goals and your dreams. And so she was like, yeah, well, I got to focus on this right now. I got to make money now. I haven't worked in a really long time. Blah, 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 blah. So in my mind, I'm like, what? Like, what do I couldn't really understand it. So I didn't press the issue because everybody has their lane and their reality. But I see this over and over again where people they have enough energy and giddy up to serve something else, to build someone else's dream, to dedicate their blood, sweat, and tears to whatever that particular job may be, and then they have nothing for their particular passions, their goals, and their dreams. And I'm like, well, you're not gonna ever get anywhere with that attitude because you're not doing anything right now. And I know if you're working 110, 120-hour work weeks, I can understand there's probably little bandwidth and maybe you can only squeeze out a couple of hours, but you still can do something. But that is not the case for this person I was talking to for sure. And it's certainly not the case for most people. And so one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is people giving themselves credit for their capacity. People really taking a look at the picture and the dynamic of the situation that they're in. And ladies and gentlemen, if I can tell you anything, and like many of you, I have some degrees and some education. I went to Morehouse College, graduated with honors. I went to Yale University, graduated with a master's degree. I've been schooled in Oxford, England. I've been schooled in St. Petersburg, Russia. I have certifications. I have a lot of education that I've earned over the years. And so I have a very unique perspective. But I also have experience as an entrepreneur and intrapreneur. I have experience building sales teams. I have experience building big business. I have experience creating passive residual income and building an entire life and infrastructure that supported not just me and my family, but my extended family and many causes that I'm passionate about. So I have a very unique perspective from both sides, the traditional educational route and what is expected of you, and then the more maverick entrepreneurial route where you got to figure stuff out, and it's the school of hard knocks, and nobody cares, by the way, in business if you have a GED or a PhD, if you're a convicted felon or you're Mother Teresa, like whatever your dynamic is, if you can get into that space and produce results and you're a strong communicator and leader, you're going to have massive success and nobody's checking your transcripts on that. So one of the things that bothers me is that so many people, and I have literally had thousands of conversations. Like I literally have done the field research on this, thousands of conversations. And I've heard over and over and over and over and over and over again, I am overworked, I'm underpaid, sometimes I'm underappreciated, and even disrespected. And I'm in a situation where I know that the income that I'm earning, that I would like to have more, I just don't know how. And what's even worse is that deep down inside, a lot of people don't even feel worthy. See, when you're working a job, you may love your job, but if your job doesn't love you, well, you got a problem. You may love your job and your job may love you, but they can only do so much because of the infrastructure. I have a lot of friends who are teachers. They're very passionate. They feel called to teach, but they're capped. The biggest incomes that I've encountered with my teacher friends are about 110, 120,000 a year because they've been doing it for a very long time. So even that is capped. Okay, that's a ceiling. And when you look at the dynamic of how you're living your life, and this is how most of us are, we have these things called bills that come every month, whether you like it or not. And for most people, their mortgage is not completely paid off. Their car loans are not completely paid off. They don't, they do have credit card debt or student loan debt or medical bills, or they owe somebody something. So it's rare. There are anomalies who have paid off their homes, their cars, and medical debt, credit card debt, student loans, and they're good. Like they're just focusing on cash flow. That's an anomaly. So I'm not addressing that audience. However, what I'm saying is for everybody, and you'll understand why in a minute. So for most people, they're working and they're working hard. They know that they're overworked and underpaid. They know that there's a cap on what they can produce because, the cash flow quadrant really breaks it down very well. In the cash flow quadrant, you have the employee, self-employed, you have business owner, investor. The employee and self-employed are completely reliant on themselves. So if you work for somebody else, they tell you what you're worth. They tell you when to punch in and punch out. They tell you when you can have lunch and for how long. They tell you how many days a year you can be sick. You have to ask for permission to get time off. And if there's a medical emergency, depending upon how long you've been there, that's really going to depend on how long you get off to take off to get well. And so you may be brand new, have a medical emergency, you're just out of luck. So if you're self-employed, you may make more money because you're a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. So you can charge more because you're specializing, but it's still dependent upon you. My chiropractor, I'm not going to the office if she's not doing me. If she's not the one working on me, I ain't going. I don't want to see any of her partners. I ain't going unless it's her. And 99% of her patients are the exact same way. She's been working her butt off. I know how hard she works. She's been doing it for 30 years. She's brilliant. But if she's not there, she's losing money because it's completely reliant on her. So she's self-employed. That's the second part of the quadrant. So remember, employee, self-employed. And so at both instances, it's completely reliant on you. Now, you got to do the math on this. I want you to just use your common sense. If there's only 24 hours in a day and there's only 7 days in a week, that means there's a permanent ceiling on how many hours and what you can produce and create. That means there's a permanent ceiling on your income. If someone in the employee or self-employed category wanted to double, triple, quadruple their income, it's highly unlikely. I'm not saying that there are not those anomalies where it can happen, but it's very, 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 very difficult. A lot of things have to line up just right. If you happen to have a job that has incentives and you get bonuses and but that's not most people. The average income in America is $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. Okay. So we know that that's not happening for the average person that I'm talking to. I'm talking to the masses right now. If you're self-employed still, the chiropractor, she could take on more patients, but she actually cares. She builds great relationship. That's why I've been going to her for as long as I have, because she takes her time. And so she doesn't have the ability to double, triple, or quadruple her patient inflow because she's not trying to run a factory where she just, touches you for 30 seconds and on to the next person. Quality goes down, etc. She's not doing that. So there are supreme limitations by nature of it's just you. Now, on the other side of the quadrant, business owner, investor. A business is something that you can build and other people are involved. That's called leverage. Leverage is one of the most important terms that you have to not only learn, you must incorporate it into your way of life. And until you do, you will be a slave to money. Profits are better than wages. Profits are better than wages. When you have a business, that means sales are directly involved in terms of how you're being compensated. And when you're doing sales, you have unlimited capacity, unlimited reach, because you can sell to as many people as you want. My business never says to me, hey, you're talking to too many homeowners, slow that down. My business never says to me, hey, you're talking to too many customers who want to shop, you got to slow that down. Said no one ever. And because we live in a country where there's like 330 plus million people, and over half of them are qualified to purchase and participate in the business that I promote, then I have unlimited bandwidth. You understand? That's number one. Number two, as a business owner, you're now involving others. That means it doesn't always rely completely on you. That means as you're building this business, other people are getting involved. You're recruiting, you're developing other people, you're building sales and development and leadership. So other people are out here, and because you give those same people the opportunity to make as much money as they want, they get excited, they start to grow, and they repeat and rinse and repeat. So that's how businesses grow. And that means that your income begins to flow beyond your 24 hours. It's beyond the power of one because you're utilizing leverage. Leverage is key. What's more powerful? 1% of the efforts of 100 people or 100% of just your own? Of course, I would rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people because that's 2,400 hours in the same day versus just my sole 24. I'll take 2,400 all day and twice on Sunday. So I'm utilizing leverage. I'm continuing to build my business. I'm continuing to make sales, and I'm not necessarily a part of all the sales happening. So I'll give you an example. My first sales organization that I built was in travel. We were selling a really cool, sexy travel membership. It was really awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was easy to talk about. And because of that, and because of the system that I built and cultivated, and then we put that with the company system, it worked really, really well. So people were able to come in, and if somebody wanted to make $1,000 in their first week, they could do it. If they wanted to make $5,000 a month, they could do it. If they wanted to make $10,000 a month, they could do it. They just had to put the work in. And unlike a job where if you go into your job for most people and you say, listen, I need to double or triple or quadruple my income, and I need to do it in the next 12 to 36 months. It's very important because I have some things coming up. My kids are going to be graduating, going to college soon. My parents are getting older. We need more revenue. How can I double, triple, or quadruple my income on my job? The employer, in most instances, has no answers because their compensation doesn't work that way. And then you may say, well, Ed, I work for a company where the CEO is making 281 times as much as I make. So why is it that the CEO is making 281 times more than me? What's up with that? I'm like, well, that's just the corporate structure. I'm sorry, that's how jobs work. You know, you're at the base, right? That's the base of the pyramid. The top of the pyramid, that's where the CEO is. Ain't no room, there's no room up there for anybody else but the CEO. Then you come down a little bit, that's the vice president, executive team down a little bit lower, but they're all making way more money than you because you're at the base of the pyramid. And your opportunity, your chances to get there are virtually zero. That's just how it works. So I'm sorry. You have to look at other avenues. You have to begin to look beyond your current circumstance. You have to understand that there are other avenues. And until you focus on finding a vehicle that creates leverage and allows you to generate income beyond the power of yourself, you will always be underpaid and overworked. You will always be taken advantage of, and you will never, ever get to your goals and your dreams. See, what most people do, because they're the employee, and the CEO is making 281 times more than they are, they look up and they see that, they say, man, I'll never get there. So they take their goals and their dreams, their big ones, and they put them off to the side. They put them on the shelf because they say, man, I'm not really going to be able to make that type of money. And most employees build their entire life around their paycheck. Maybe you've done this. You look at your paycheck and you say to yourself, based on this paycheck, I can live in this neighborhood, not that one. I can drive this type of car, but not that type of car. My kids have to go to public school. They can never go to private. I can't take my family on a vacation once a year. I got to do it once every 3 years. I can't necessarily have the type of lifestyle and time freedom that I aspire to because we just ain't making enough money. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to give me a second job because it's just a lot. I need to make more money. And there's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 7 days in a week. So the second job is going to pay less than the first. And now I'm overextended and I have no leverage and I'm still sweating because unfortunately, that second job that I'm making more money, sometimes it could bump you up to a different tax bracket and you end up paying more in taxes. So the hard work and the energy you put in the second job, you end up losing it. Like, it's crazy. The people in this country who work the hardest are usually paid the least and taxed the most. I'm gonna say it again in case you missed it. The people in this country that work the hardest are usually paid the least and taxed the most. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about the power of leverage. I want to talk to you about how you can begin to position yourself to be better off in the coming years instead of resigning yourself to a life of mediocrity. I don't believe anybody grew up as a kid dreaming about making $60,000 a year as the pinnacle, the top of success, the best of the best. I'm sorry. There's so much of a proliferation of people being exposed to the entertainment culture and multi gazillionaires. We got people that are, hundreds of billions of dollars in net worth. You got people that are approaching trillionaire status. You can't tell me that people are dreaming and excited about making $60,000 or $5,000 a month. I like you can't tell me that. And I don't believe that you believe that there's another human being that's 281 times more valuable than you. I just don't believe that you believe that. Now, if you do, I ain't talking to you. If you're somebody that's just like, I just want to be comfortable, Ed, I'm happy making my $5,000 a month, I don't want to be too, then I ain't talking to you. You know what's funny about numbers? If I were to come to any of you and say, I'm going to pay you $10,000 a year, and you say, what? Like, what? You ain't paying me 10,000. How you expect me to live off of that? I say, hey, wait a minute. You're being greedy. You're being selfish. Why would you want more than $10,000 a year? Why can't you be happy with what you got? Why can't you be grateful? Thank God that you're here, that you're healthy, and that you're alive. Thank God that you have a job. Some people don't have a job. Take $10,000 and shut up and be happy with it. If I talked to you like that, you would slap me. But if I came to you and said, listen, you deserve to be making a minimum of $250,000 a year, I believe you're worth it. You've been working hard, all your life experience, your wisdom, the way you put in the work and the effort, the team player. You deserve $250,000 a year. Let's figure out how to do it. Some of y'all would look at me like I was crazy. It's just a number. If it's $10,000 a year or $250,000 a year, it's just a number. What's the X factor? The X factor is you. There's something in you that believes that this is all that you're worth. This is all that you deserve. So because you build your life around a paycheck, you become a paycheck player. And the paycheck that you're getting, more often than not, was determined by somebody else, not you. They told you what you were worth and you accepted it. And now you're not doing anything about it. You're just like, okay, this is just what I'm going to take and I'm just going to live my life. And most people, they keep saying one day, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And so that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is ego. Your ego is not your amigo. Your ability to take on a new assignment, to learn a new skill, to learn something new, to put yourself in an environment where you can grow. Getting comfortable being uncomfortable is one of the hallmarks of transformation and greater success. So I show you a vehicle where you can utilize leverage. I'm not saying you have to leave your job today. I'm saying that I want to show you how to leverage the vehicle so that you can match the income on your job with your leverage vehicle, and then you have the option. At some point, if you choose, you can leave your job, or you can just have the double your income, and you can keep giving yourself self-induced raises as a result of the work that you're putting in and your ability to identify others who know they deserve more, who want to earn more for their families, who want to leave something behind besides debt or a house that's not paid off, who want to leave something behind besides a legacy of just working for somebody else. I don't understand people who speak that language of, I'm just going to dedicate my life to somebody else's goals and dreams. They're going to tell me what to do, when to do it. They're going to tell me how high to jump. They're going to tell me when I can eat lunch. They're going to tell me when I can go on vacation. They're going to tell me how much they're going to pay me. They're going to give me a cost of living pay increase every couple of years, and I should be happy with that. I don't understand that. I know people do it, but again, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to those of you that know good and doggone well that you're worth more, that you deserve more. And if somebody would just show you a way, you're willing to put in the work because you want that. You have some unfinished business in your life. You have some unresolved financial business to take care of. See, some of you may want your financial dignity. Some of you may want your financial independence. And when you've been under the guise of financial abuse for a long, long time, it breaks down your self-esteem. It takes away your self-worth. It erodes your self-image. Because when you know that you're overworked and underpaid, when you know you haven't gotten a real raise in 3, 4, 5, 7 years, when you know that somebody else is getting promoted and they're less qualified and they're just an idiot, when you know that you're working for somebody who's an idiot and they're still getting promoted and getting better raises and better pay, that erodes your self-esteem, self-worth, and self-image, because that's called financial abuse. You've heard of, domestic abuse, you've heard of psychological abuse, you've heard of physical abuse. There is a thing called financial abuse. And when you eat away at people's self-worth like that, they take their dreams and goals and they downsize them or they put them on the shelf and they resign themselves to a life of mediocrity. And I believe, and I just believe that you're worth more. I love people. I believe that your capacity hasn't even begun to get stretched yet. So when you utilize leverage, ladies and gentlemen, and you know you have those things that are coming, the bills, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you work or not, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're sick or healthy, whether there's a family emergency or not, whether you just got laid off, downsized, right size, capsize, the bills are going to keep coming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The question is, do you have an income that's coming in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you work or not? See, you may work a job 5, 10, 15, 20 years. When you leave the job, you can't pass it on to your kid. You can't pass it on to your next of kin. You can't pass it on to an assigned trustee of your estate. You can't pass the job on. It stops. When you leave a job, for most people, you might have a little severance. Excuse me. You might have a 401k plan. Great. But for most people, they got to put in a lot of years for it to be worthwhile. But you can put in 5, 8, 10 years on a job and leave with nothing, maybe a couple weeks severance pay. They don't say, hey, you've been here for 10 years, you've been busting your butt. We're going to take the average highest number over the 10 years and pay that to you every single month for the rest of your life. That's called repeat residual income. When you understand business and you understand leverage, you can build an income that continues to come in month after month after month after month, whether you're working that month or not. So the income that I'm building, it comes every month, whether I'm working or not. I just grow it. Like I want it to grow every month. So I keep working. But if something came up and I had to step away, I had to do something else, I had to put more time on my daytime sales job, then I would still have the income coming in every month. It doesn't deviate, it just goes up slightly. Now, if I put in more work, it goes up more, but it doesn't deviate that much. So that's called repeat income. If you have bills that are coming 24/7, it is your duty, responsibility, and obligation to build an income that is coming in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in multiple time zones. Can't do it by yourself. That's why in the cash flow quadrant, you have the employee and the self-employed. He calls that the poor side. And then you have the business owner and the investor. He calls that the rich side, because once you're earning way more money every month than you could possibly spend, you're forced to learn how to invest it, how to grow it, how to put some overalls on your money and make your money go out and go work for you. That's what I want for everybody. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to work for somebody else, exchange time of my life for a dollar amount, and know that I'm being underpaid, undervalued, and overworked. I know what it's like to work really hard and hit up against that ceiling where I couldn't squeeze out more than $107,000 in a year. I'm working hard, but I couldn't make more than $107,000 in a year. That sucks. That's called six-figure broke. Six-figure broke. I know what that's like, but I also know what it's like to build a repeat income. So I know that I have a high 5-figure income coming in every month, whether I'm working that month or not. I have peace, I have time freedom, I have flexibility, and I can give more. The reason it's so important for me that you make a minimum of $250,000 a year is because you're going to be able to be more of who you are. You're a giver, you like to contribute, you want to add value, you would like to volunteer more, you want to tutor kids more, you want to be a better mentor, you want to have more time with your family, your kids, you want to be able to do some nice things for your parents and your elders, you want to give some things to the churches and the causes that you believe in. I know that if you have more money coming in, you get to be more of you. I know that when you have more money coming in, you get to be more of the light and what is bright in this world. And we need more of your light and your bright in this world. My Lord, we need more of it now than ever. And so that's the purpose of this conversation that I'm having with you. That's why we wanted to talk to you about leverage, so that you really understand. I would rather have, Ed, 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own. I would rather spend time with other people who are aspirational, ambitious, have drive. They want to earn what they're worth. They want financial dignity. They want financial independence, and they're willing to put in the work with the right vehicle. And we want to be a value add to ourselves, to our families, to our society, to our culture, our communities. And you do that by becoming more, by earning more, by cash flow. Cash flow gives you choices. Cash flow means I can live here and not here. I can live where I want. I can drive what I want. My kids can go to the private school, the best schools. I don't have to worry about anything. My family's straight. I can give when I want to give, and I can just contribute, be a a bigger, better contributor to society as a result of me taking ownership of my self-worth, not allowing somebody else to tell me what I'm worth, not allowing myself to become resigned or to give up on my bigger goals and dreams, but to make a commitment to making it happen. And I submit to you, having had the experience of building a massive sales team, having had the experience of multiple businesses and learning a lot, taking a lot of L's, taking losses, but also learning and growing in the process, because the loss is the lesson, ladies and gentlemen. The win is a blessing. I've won at a very high level. I've lost and got some incredible lessons. And now that I have the right vehicle, we can have a real conversation about that repeat income, about building your financial legacy, about adding value to people's lives in an extremely profound way, and doing it with grace and professionalism in class. No hype, no exaggeration, no, I'm just going to give it to you straight, because that's why my last name is Blunt, because people that know me know that I am blunt. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you taking some time out for me to talk to you about leverage, the power of building a repeat residual income, the necessity of having a repeat residual income, because if you have bills that come every month, you got to have an income that comes every month. If you got multiple bills going out and you only have one income coming in, you are being over leveraged. If you have multiple bills going out, okay, check it out: rent, car, gas, healthcare, insurance, food, clothing, and you got one income coming in, you're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage. Now, if I show you how to take that current income and then add just one, I'm not talking about multiple streams, don't get it twisted, but add just one. And I show you how to take that one income stream, which is on top of this one, and build it, build it, build it, build it. And we build it, build it, build it, build it. And we make it so that it matches your current income and then surpasses your current income. Now you can start to breathe. Now you can start to attack debt. If you have any debt, we're going to attack it and get rid of it. We're going to celebrate you paying off your car loans. We're going to celebrate you paying off your mortgage. We're going to celebrate you paying off your credit card debt, student loans, etc. We're going to celebrate you having a liquid cash account of $100,000, $10,000, then $100,000. So we have goals, we have infrastructure, we have a plan of action for you that's going to get you to where you want to go faster. And all I'm asking that you sit down and you talk with me or whoever passed this video on to you and take a look at what we're doing. Take a look at our business model, take a look at our product, take a look at the services that we're providing, how we're transforming lives. It is a very, very solid, smart, intelligent business, something that took me 5.5 years of diligent research to come across, to identify, to do all the checks and the balances on it. And then what I love is for people to, beat it up, like come at me, come at whoever's inviting you to take a look at the information with all of your healthy skepticism. I think that's important. Not cynicism. Cynicism is just people that are ignorant and they're just negative. But if you have healthy skepticism, not a problem. We're happy to make sure that you're going to be able to see everything. You can see our earnings and how we do it, how we're helping other people, and then you can make your own decision. Okay. I just want you to be open, to sit down and really understand that there are some options out there. I want what we've experienced for everybody to experience that life of true peace and financial independence, and having the right vehicle is 90% of it. The other 10% is not that hard. It's just putting in the work and having conversations with people and adding value. But again, ladies and gentlemen, leverage is key. 1% of the efforts of 100 people over 100% of your own, and understanding the importance of building something that's going to work even when you're not. So your cash flow is 24/7 in multiple time zones. I believe your goals, your dreams, your biggest ambitions, the size of your God, the size of your creator, and your aspiration are all worth it. So get back with the person that shared this with you. Take a look at the information and make a decision. All right. And be decisive. Tell us yes, tell us no, but tell us quick because we on the go.